Speaking about primary schools, we do have another very, very special lady in our midst. Now, we've seen her on so many platforms on social media, and many of you might be thinking in the certain direction right now. A principal that wears a school uniform alongside her students, alongside her pupils. And this is in a bid to inspire them, to empower them, to harness who they are, and to step out and become who they want to be. We have none other than the principal of Transikulu Girls Secondary School in Enugu State, in the person of Mrs. Ijoma Fedelia Okpe, to tell us more about her style and, of course, her unique dress sense every day she goes to school. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you.
Seeing you here dressed in the uniform, I now see that I already feel empowered.
Yeah.
You know, yes, Oji.
I feel very elated being in your space, because it's very inspiring and refreshing.
Wow.
Because when you even walked in, I was like, oh, she even looks like a student.
I know. I can now imagine how they feel, because it's almost like the height of leading by example. So this is our tete-a-tete, and I would like us to get right into it. So what inspired you to put on a uniform every school day?
Thank you very much. When I was appointed the principal of Transikulu Girls Secondary School in Enugu, I actually assumed duty on the 4th of October 2019. When I arrived at the school, I found out that the children were not properly dressed. They put on skimpy wears, and some they had torn clothes and all sorts of things. The kind of style of the uniform was such that the children didn't give them enough space and things like that to move about freely and stuff like that. And I discovered that the children were behaving anyhow. They were so wild. They roamed the streets. Some of them take off, they don't come into the school, they roam about the community around the areas. Even till after 12, 1, you still see students on uniform roaming the streets. They won't even come into the school. I heard stories of cults and all sorts of things in the school. So the children were like, I was wondering, what happened? Why is this school like that? So some of the teachers told me, don't you know that about 90% of these children are housemates? I said, what? And then the teachers, you find out that a lot of teachers don't even do their duties. They sit down in the staff rooms, discussing, buying and selling in the morning, and these children were neglected. So I said, no way. These are humans, just like each and every one of us. So I now said, okay, I'm going to change the school uniform, the pattern of the sewing. I changed it from straight cut to pleated skirts, and then this pinafore for the junior secondary. That's what I'm putting on right now. I wear both junior and senior. Yesterday I wore for a senior, today I'm wearing junior uniform.
I'm so inspired by you at this point.
So I told the girls that you are a girl child, and you are as important as any other human being. And as God will have it, that particular year, 2019, the theme for the International Day of the Girl Child was Girl Force, unscripted and unstoppable. I said, that is it for me. I picked up that, and that became the slogan for the children. I use it every day, leading them to make certain confessions and all those things, all those affirmations. Girl Force, unscripted and unstoppable. Nobody can stop you. Not even the circumstance of where you came from or where you're living. That you're living with people who are not your biological parents, it doesn't make you less human. You are as human as every other person. So I decided to identify with the girl child because I heard a lot of them complaints, a lot of them, they are abused sexually before the token called school fees is being paid. They are neglected. A lot of them did not have writing materials and all those things. So how can they learn? That's why they now felt, oh, the world have rejected us. So they behaved anyhow. So I said, no, you must come back. Nobody is rejecting you except you reject yourself. You are a girl force. You are unscripted. You are unstoppable.
Okay, I would like to take it to the level of your students. Now, you're dressed in a uniform just like your students, and
yes,
the tendency for them to see you as a friend as opposed to a symbol of authority is very high.
Yes.
Now, you talked about the social and psychological problems that some of these students face, being housemates, some of them are abused.
Yes.
How has your dressing impacted their ability to talk to you, to communicate these problems, and what actions have you taken on your part to help to relieve them of this trauma that most of them are going through at this point?
Okay. The children, they easily come to me. They have access to me. Every time they have access to me. They come to me, they open up to me and share their problems. Some of them, when they are abused, like a child that was abused sexually, she did not open up to her mother. But she came to me to report the matter. I said, do you have your mother's phone number? She said, yes. Have you told your mother? No. But she came to report this matter to me, and I took it up. I reported this matter to NAPTIP. I have reported a lot of cases. In fact, it's like NAPTIP is an extension of my office. They know me at NAPTIP. And some other NGOs, some other organizations like Nkatandi Nyomibo, headed by Iyom Josephine Aneni. Josephine Aneni also knows me because I have reported some cases to her equally, and some lawyers too that are into this gender-based violence and things like that. I have reported so many cases. So the children, they are always at home. They feel so free to come to me to share problems with me. I started a project in that school. I think that is one of the things that tells the children that I am standing in for them. I started a pad bank project because some of them, to the extent that they are not given as simple as sanitary pads when they are menstruating. I saw a child walking the school compound, around the school compound, with blood dripping down her legs. I called her attention when I saw her. What is this? Do you have an injury or what? She said she was on her period. So why didn't you take care of yourself? She started crying. What is it? She started sobbing. I took her to my office. She now opened up that her auntie will not give her sanitary pad. And she now went to the toilet to roll out some toilet tissue to be able to protect herself from being stained by the blood. And the auntie almost killed her that she used that toilet tissue. I said, look, girl, toilet tissue is not even hygienic. I'll get you a sanitary pad. I sent my messenger, she bought sanitary pad, took her to my toilet, she cleaned up and used it. And I said, there I go. I started a project called Pad Bank for menstrual hygiene for Transekulu Girls Secondary School. I fill it up with pads. I announce to them, henceforth, nobody should use toilet tissue or rags or paper or any other thing except hygienic sanitary pads. So they come to my office, they pick pads whenever they are menstruating, free of charge.
I think at this point,
so many organizations have partnered with me to fill up the pads. If you come to my office, the pad is always filled.
All that's missing right now is a cape, a green cape to go with your uniform. That is fantastic to know.
So it's also a great and awesome feat, all you've achieved in a short while being the principal of the school. But I want to bring us back to what is actually the genesis of the problem, the rot we are seeing in our educational system, right, and not paying much attention. Is it that the parents or the guardians are being lackadaisical, or the teachers of these students are not highly inspired and motivated? What is really the genesis of these rots?
Okay, thank you so much. That exactly is problem of the society. We are product of the system where we are. It's a general problem in Nigeria. Because of the level of corruption in the country, because of the way the leadership of this country has come to be, it's a kind of rubs off on the various segments of the society, including the education sector. So you cannot just say, it's the problem of the parents alone, the problem of the teachers alone, the problem of the students alone. They have their various areas where they have come short of what they are expected to do. The parents on their own, like the guardian, I spoke about children that will not be given materials. How can a child learn when she has no textbook? How can a child learn when she has no pen and paper to write? How can a child learn when her fees are not paid except she's abused sexually? How can a child learn when she is asked to go to the shop, clean the shop, do this and do that, take your children to school, and she will trek to school? She will come late to school because she has no choice. She has no better choice. So that is on the part of the parents or the guardian. You see what they are doing. And then you see some of these parents, even their children, their biological children, they will not do the needful. But when it comes to the time of taking external examination, the WAEC and NECO, they will give their children money, plenty money, to go and pay at what they call Miracle Center so that I can make it. But what I keep on telling parents, what a child doesn't have, he cannot give. No matter how beautiful your certificate is, I don't care. You don't have it. You don't have the knowledge. So you cannot do anything. You can't produce any positive result with that beautiful certificate because it's not yours. So that is it. Then on the part of government, you see that education sector has been so much neglected. You go to so many public schools, a lot of buildings and things like that are dilapidated and all those. So the environment for learning must be conducive for students and for teachers. And on the part of teachers, a lot of teachers neglect their duties. They prefer, at the slightest this thing, they tell you that they are trying to make ends meet because of the problem in the society. So they want to do one or two things, giving attention to their private businesses rather than giving attention to their job, or that is their primary purpose of being employed.
All right, so I'd like to also talk a little bit about those teachers now that are basically turning or used to turn the classrooms into commercial hubs or business centers, buying and selling, as opposed to doing their job of impacting knowledge in these children. How were you able to deal with that challenge? Because you've cited this at Trans-Ekulu Girls, or you cited this at that time, does not mean that it doesn't still exist in other secondary schools. How were you able to deal with that challenge? Is this something that you're still contending with every day that you go to work?
It's a thing of the past. It has changed completely. The teachers I no longer allow such. It's just it was so simple for me because I told all the vendors, you no longer come in. I announced it to them. You no longer come in except it is break time. I put a wall. There was no wall demarcating us from our neighbors. So there was freedom of movement before. Teachers and students could go out of the school at will. But I put up a fence, the wall, and I put up a gate. I gave specific instruction to the security man, don't open this gate to vendors until it is 11:20, that is break time. If you open it, I will fire you. And he said, yes, ma. That was it. So all the vendors, you no longer had access to the school until it is break time. And immediately it is past, it is 12 o'clock, 12 noon, the vice principal in charge of those vendors will ask all of them out of the school. So they no longer come into the staff room at odd times.
Okay, you won the Principal of the Year award, right? Can you walk us through, that award being given to you, and you can just tell us about it?
Yes, actually, I have been doing all I'm doing, not seeking for attention or something like that, maybe public notice or something like that, because it's from my heart I've been doing it. But somehow, a lot of journalists and maybe they hear my story from parents and people, because the students I used to loiter about, they no longer see them in the neighborhood. So a lot of people have been telling my story. But I told them that we are not allowed to go to the press. So I have been shying away from going to the press for a very long time, for so many years. But this time around, I went for a program actually at Okpe Square, and I met with Ife Melody. So somebody told her my story, and she followed me up. She said, no, your story must be told. I said, please, I have been so quiet. She said, no, we must tell your story. And she came, followed me up to the school, came, even during our morning assembly. One day they just gave me a surprise visit to see how I interact with students at the morning assembly. And it was, wow, this is awesome. And she was so pleased with all those things. All the stories she heard about me, she saw them live, playing out when she came to my school. And honestly, she took me by surprise. She actually told me that she has a program for the youth, and that I should come with, initially she said 10 of my students. She later said, come with 15 of them. I didn't even want to go with the children. I asked one of my teachers, Chizoba, to take them. But Chizoba took ill, and she said she wouldn't be able to do that. I took them. When I was going, I didn't know I was going to receive an award. So I was going that I was taking the children to hear something that will impact them positively and make them better persons. So when we went there, a lot of good speakers that came and spoke so well taught the children. And the next thing, I saw that I was being highlighted on the screen. It's I was shocked. I was actually short of words, but highly elated.
What's what doing well is what doing fine and good. And yeah, when it comes to who is a leader, this is one we're looking at right here. And thank you for all you've been doing, and please continue, because some people are looking up to you and your inspiration to these kids. And God bless you and strengthen you in all your endeavors, right?
Thank you.
I think Oji has said it all. That is essentially it. But right before we let you go, we cannot talk about the reactions of people. What you're doing is rare. It's special. You wake up every day, you go to work, you put on a uniform like your students. So just in a few seconds, can you just tell us how people react when they see you step out for the first time? First timers, when they see you, what is their reaction? Do you notice them look and then look again?
Yes.
What is that reaction like?
Yes, the people who look at me, some, when I'm passing maybe along the street, some make some comments like, oh, this woman, thank God that an elderly woman like this still goes back to school. So we say, no, she's not an old woman. I hear arguments and I laugh and pass. So even in my school, the first time I wore the uniform to school, the teachers were like, wow. Anyway, she's just doing it to maybe, this is just her first week in school. By the time she wears it for 2 weeks, she will drop it. How can a principal be wearing uniform? And up to today, they are still seeing me. And the funniest part of it is that you will think that they have known me with this and they are able to recognize me always. Most times, I catch them on the act. They wouldn't know the principal. Well, by the time they know, principal, both teachers and students.
So that's almost like a secret service.
Undercover principal.
Undercover principal. That sounds like a documentary. Yeah, really interesting one, and we're honored, to be interviewing someone like you. Like I said, you are rare, and Oji has already said it all. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. God bless you.
Very amazing conversation there. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You can just see the uniqueness written all over Mrs. Ijoma Fedelia Okpe. Really interesting young lady. Actually, a woman that we should all try to be like, inspiring people, leading by example. A really interesting session there. After the break, we're going to be having a very interesting conversation as well on the aftermath of the Okpe market protest that held yesterday. You're still watching our PM Morning Show. Do stay with us.